Hi there, today we're going to sous vide some chicken for our dish, which we're going to cook tomorrow. We're going to sous vide it today because it's going to take 6 hours to cook in the combi oven. A combi oven is an oven that does steaming and convection as well. And we're going to use the steam function to sous vide these chicken thighs. They're actually chicken cutlets, so they've got the bone in, and they will need at least 6 hours in the combi, on steam, at about 74 degrees Celsius, okay? So the advantage of sous vide is, what does sous vide mean? It means going in a plastic bag like this, under vacuum seal, okay? So we're just going to prep these chickens up just quickly. They're already pretty good. Just get rid of some of this extra skin and fat. We want to add some flavour to the bag. So we're going to salt our chicken. And we're sort of doing a bit of a Middle Eastern flavour to our chicken. Tomorrow we're going to do harissa chicken with quinoa. So we're going to put a little bit of coriander and some cumin on it as well. Another thing that we have to do is we have to open up the bag. And we don't want to get any juices along this section here because that's where the seal is going to happen. So we want to be careful how we put it in the bag. Okay, here's our chicken. We're going to lay it in here into our vacuum sealer. We're going to line it up so that there's plenty of room for the sealing to take place, and all we have to do is close the lid and off it goes. Ooh. Okay. And then that's done. We have to wait for that for the gas to escape. And then we'll be able to open it up and you'll see that that's been completely vacuum sealed. So this is our combi oven, and it's basically got a computer with it. It actually can be programmed. So we're going to turn it on to steam, and we're going to get it going so that it's hot enough to put in there when we do our steaming of our sous vide bags. So I've actually decided to have 2 different bags because the chicken thighs or the chicken thigh cutlets are 2 different sizes. 3 of them are around 230, 226, 210. So they'll probably cook for about 6 hours. And whereas the other ones over here, they're only 160, 168. So I might cook those for about maybe 4 or 5 hours. Welcome. Today we're going to be shooting our video in the school's hospitality kitchen, and this is where we will teach hospitality to year 11 and 12. So we'll be using some of the equipment that we've got in the kitchen. So this kitchen has 8 bays, so it's got 8 stoves, and each bay has got all the equipment that is required for cooking. And as you can see, we are still setting up this kitchen ready for next year. We're actually going to do a lovely dish today, a green harissa chicken with a quinoa pilaf. Pilaf just means grains that is cooked in stock with some onion in the oven. And this was cooked yesterday, and you can see all the liquid is stock now, and that will be added to the juice that we're going to use, the stock we're going to use to cook the pilaf. Okay, we're going to start with making the harissa, which is really a chili paste Notice I've got gloves on because the chili juice has a very bad tendency to stay on your fingers and then end up in your eyes, which is very bad, and we don't want that to happen. We're also removing the seeds because the seeds are very, very hot. The harissa has lemon zest in it. Just want to point out that when you are zesting a lemon, don't go through to the white stuff. That's called the pith, P-I-T-H, and it is very bitter. So we only want to be just shaving off the yellow stuff, so it looks like that. So we're just going to roughly chop these up, and I just want to show you our fantastic Magi Mix, which has, if you take out the main blade for the large bowl, you can then put the smaller bowls in, and we can decide whether we want to use the tiny bowl, which is here, or the next bowl up. We're going to try the tiny bowl. So we're going to put our chilies in there. We're going to put our lemon zest in there. They smell very strong. Our coriander and cumin. Our garlic, we're cheating, we're using some already grated garlic. 2 cloves, so just going to judge it and say about that. And we're going to chop that first before we add our oil. Pulse it. So here's our harissa, ready to marinate our chicken. So obviously you don't have a sous vide machine at home, or you don't have somewhere where you can cook your things under vacuum seal. You'll just follow the recipe. Brown off the chicken and put it on top of the rice pilaf and cook it out in the oven with the rice pilaf or the quinoa pilaf. But those of you who are doing hospitality next year will be interested to see what I do with this. So first of all, we've got to brown off these chickens because the sous vide doesn't shrink the meat in the same way as other cooking does. But what it does do is it leaves a very pale, unbrowned meat. So you need to give it a second process of cooking. And what we do is we take off the juice and we use a paper towel to dry it off. And we use the jelly because the jelly is going to be used in the stock. So I'm just drying off the chicken and putting the jelly into a jug, and that will form part of the liquid that we use to cook the quinoa. We're going to brunoise the onion for the pilaf. So it wants to be fairly fine. Come through this way and then come through this way a couple of times. Then come through this way, fairly fine. Keeping the tip of the knife on the board. When you get to there, cut it into strips. Then come through this way. Okay, we're going to brown off the onion. If I had a large oven-proof pan you could brown off in as well, I would do it all in the pan, like a cast iron one for example. An enamel cast iron one would be best for this. But I don't have one of those. I'm going to do the pilaf in here and put the chicken on top. So if you were doing from raw, you would marinate the chicken in the harissa before you browned it. We're not going to do that actually. What we're going to do is we're just going to brown the sous vide chicken, and then we're going to put on top of the browned chicken, we're going to put some harissa before it goes into the oven. We are just browning off the onion here, and we're going to brown off this chicken, which needs some of the Maillard effect. The Maillard effect is where the sugar caramelizes. Now you've got to watch out there because there's still some water on the chicken, so it's going to spit. We're just going to stand back. In with our onions, we're going to put our spices for and the garlic and the ginger. Take the ginger. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of garlic in as well. It's going to be delicious. See how our chicken's getting on? Beautiful. Getting a nice brown, crispy skin. Actually, it's a really good idea to wash the quinoa. So we're going to wash the quinoa over here with some cold water. And now I'm going to put it in with the onions. So I put the quinoa in and I want the flavours to go through. And now I'm just going to put that in the tray. And this chicken is done. And I'm just going to oil spray my tray just to make it easier to clean. I'm going to take my chicken off so it's not sitting in the oil. Now I'm going to put my quinoa in the tray, spread it around. So we want 4 cups of liquid because we've got 2 cups of gravy. Okay, here's our harissa and we're going to spread that over our chicken. And I wanted to put extra because I wanted to serve some harissa on the side as well. Delicious. And then that is going to go on top of just like that. I'm just going to use the lemon over here as well. I'm actually going to peel this, show you how you peel this in the industry. And I think we'll just do some slices through like that. Spread that round. Now we want to put some paper on that. Some baking paper down first. And then we're going to put some foil. Foil is not wide enough, so we're going to go this way. We'll go a couple of times, which is another reason why we're putting the paper down first. I thought I would show you how to roast a capsicum and peel it so that it's really delicious. So what we do is we just cut it off here, we lay it on a tray, like so, and we put it under the griller. And when it turns black, we put it into a bowl with a lid or some bread wrap over it, and then we wait for it to steam through a little bit, and then we peel it, and it comes out delicious. These are our salamander is the name for it. It's not a gas one, it's an electric one, and they're Italian. I'm just going to pop them under there. They're going to take some time. We'll put it up to the highest. They're going to take some time. So they go up and down. We want it really close. So we're just going to put them there and forget about it. What we're doing now is we're char grilling the corn over a gas element. Unfortunately, you can't do this on an electric stove. We're going to just keep turning it and just getting a bit of char on it, and that'll make it delicious. Okay, now our corn is beautifully charred. We're just going to show you how to cut that through with a nice sharp knife. Leave that in the bowl ready for presentation. Okay, although it's not on the recipe, we're doing this extra because it will look really good. These have been under the grill for some time, and you can see they've started to blister. What I find though, it's easier to actually peel it. If you put it in a bowl, whack some cling wrap over the top of it, and then come back to it in about 5 minutes, and then it's ready to peel much more easily. Okay, we're just going to get our coriander ready. I just usually kind of slice it off the stem like this, because some of the top stems are fine enough to go on the garnish. And then I'm just going to give it a really rough chop, scrunch it up into a ball first, come through this way, and then I usually just come through the other way, this way, a couple of times for coriander. It can be quite rough. This has been steaming for a little while, and you can see it's now a little bit cooler, and it's really easy to peel. Now look how, or you can't see how delicious it is, but it is much more delicious than just serving it raw. And the colour has come out as well. Broccoli off, and we're just going to do that very, very quickly. Won't take long at all. And we're going to put quinoa on the side there. In actual fact, I'm just going to salt that quinoa because I did fail to put salt when it was cooked. And then we're going to put some of these other lovely garnish pieces around. Broccoli I think will be done. We're just going to check it. Yep. Turn that off. We're going to take one of these chicken thighs, and we're going to pop that on top there like that. Going to have a couple of bits of broccoli, and we're just going to finish it with some coriander and a little bit of yogurt. And finally, I'm just going to bring up the colour a little bit by putting a little bit more fresh harissa on top, like that. I'm going to put a little bit of yogurt on the top, like that. And then I'm going to finish it with some coriander. And being careful not to touch it, a couple of red chilies on top. And there we have it. Green Harissa chicken on a quinoa pilaf, served with char-grilled sweet corn, roasted capsicum and broccoli.